Dear puppy God, please bless this puppy food and nourishment to my puppy body, and please be with all the puppies that don't have a roof over their head or food in their bellies. Amen. He's very religious.
Hi, YouTube. For the people that have like followed my channel and that like love Nero as much as I do, I didn't tell you guys sooner just because I wanted to protect Nero, and I didn't want to give pit bulls a bad reputation. I also didn't make like a final decision for a while. I just wasn't ready like mentally to talk about it, especially on camera, telling thousands of people. So I've had Nero for 6 years, and if you guys watch my YouTube videos, you've seen Nero, and a lot of you guys love him like just as much as I do. In those 6 years, I think I moved 4 times, and I wouldn't even like think of looking at a place if they didn't allow pit bulls, and it's really hard to rent a place in San Antonio if you have a pit bull. My first question for places, I'm like, can I have a pit bull? No? Okay, I don't even want to look at it. Nero comes with me everywhere. The apartment was hard because there wasn't a backyard, but I ended up moving into a house, and the only reason I got that house was to have a backyard for Nero. And while I was living there, I was like, I'm gonna save up the money, I'm gonna buy a house. And that's what I've been doing. I was saving up money to buy a house so I'd have a big backyard, because the bigger the dogs, the bigger backyard. It's just good for him. But the past couple years, it's been kind of hard with Nero. He's so smart. If you guys see me, like the tricks that I've taught him, how to pray for his food, how to sit, lay down, army crawl, sit, stay until I call him. Like, he's so well behaved. But I started noticing that he was getting protective over me, and I didn't teach him that. I've always been very sweet to him and very calm, and there's a few things that kind of happened, not bites, just kind of like worrisome. He knocked the kid down, and then he would kind of growl at people, and he like got protective over his food and kind of cornered a dog. It wasn't like big deal things. I'd just be like, hey, like I'd be able to control it. I just felt like I was like, no, it's just he just needs to be disciplined, and he'll learn from it. Like a year and a half ago, he bit my dad. My parents came to visit, and my dad just placed his hand on my arm. It was just like, hey, you want to make a cup of coffee? And Nero bit him. And it's because, my dad just lightly touched me, and, there was no sign of it. Nero was just wagging his tail, like walking, and then just all of a sudden bites my dad. And my dad's almost 70, and so obviously I was really worried. I took my dad to the doctor. They cleaned up my dad, everything was fine. And people ask me, they're like, he's tasted blood now, like now he's gonna be aggressive. And I was like, no, he's not. Like, he's perfectly fine. Like, he learned his lesson. I punished him. He'll never do it again. And since then, I was very cautious of him. Like, when people came over, like, you have to scratch behind his ears, scratch his belly, talk to him in baby voice. If he ever kind of like was acting weird or something, I would just put him outside, or I'd put him in my bedroom. He lunged at an employee and kind of cornered her, and that also worried me. And I heard he reached out to like his vet, called trainer after trainer. Even dog trainers they don't feel comfortable working with pit bulls, especially when they're protective over their owners, which, like, I understand, especially when it's a 100-pound pit bull. I thought it was something that I could control. As a pet owner, you feel like a failure. I think my biggest thing was not finding someone to help sooner. I just didn't know who to turn to. This is like my 6th time recording this, and I cry just as much every time. So Nero to me was not just a dog. Like, to me, he was like family. If anything, he was my emotional support, because I feel like without him, I'm a mess. Something happened a few months ago, and I had a friend over. Nero was acting normal. He was wagging his tail. He was really sweet. Nero's met this person. I don't even know what you would call it, but it was a really scary moment. It caused 35 stitches and a missing tooth. I reacted. I grabbed Nero off. I took my friend to the hospital. I didn't even put shoes on. I didn't even grab my purse. I grabbed my keys. I said, get in the car. But my priority was like making sure my friend was okay. If anything, my friend was way more calm than me. I was very upset in the emergency room. I was crying because I was like in shock, and I was worried for my friend. And whenever a dog bites someone, whether or not the person presses charges, and which my friend didn't, they have to file a report with animal control, and animal control called, and because of the severity of the bite and where it's located, there's different protocols and whatnot. So Nero had to have an investigation, and they told me, hey, we're gonna come pick him up with a catch pulley, like metal leash in a van, or you can bring him in yourself. So I went to animal control with Nero, and the people there were very kind. They were really nice and very understanding. When I walked back there, I kept Nero in the car. I was like, I just want to see where he's gonna be. And all these dogs are barking, and they're just like trying to get out of the cages, and it's like they sleep on the ground. There's no toys, there's nothing to sleep on, just concrete. And so I was like, I'm not leaving Nero here. I argued with them for a while, and I think me being hysterical, they let me end up doing what's called private quarantine, where you can actually quarantine them through your private vet and everything. So I was able to do that. I found out later I wasn't supposed to, because he had an investigation on him, and so they're supposed to stay at the actual animal control. But I'm glad that worked out in my favor. Because the investigation, you know, they were asking me questions, and I basically told them, I was like, oh, don't put my dog down. I'll do anything. I'll do anything for him not to be put down. They agreed to do like a rehabilitation program, and as long as I got to pick it, I was okay with that. So a friend of mine suggested this place. It's called Reverse to Rescue, and it's in California. Did not drop Nero off at a shelter. This is not a shelter. It's basically people's houses. It's like a sanctuary where they take in pit bulls, rehabilitate them. He's been there for a few months now, still completing his rehabilitation. I was, you know, blowing up the owner, Ty, asking for pictures and videos and how Nero's doing and everything. Nero has what's called resource guarding, and that's where it gets hard. Nero has like been like latched onto me, like resource guarded me for 6 years. He thinks it's his job to protect me, and even though I don't need protection, I'm like, I'm good, I'm fine. And like, he's always listened to me, and I've always, you know, been really good with like disciplining and teaching him things. And I know that I might have spoiled him a little too much. I always thought like I was the boss, but Ty said, you know, every dog is different, and doing things like when I take him on walks, you know, I know he always walks ahead of me. He always sleeps in my bed with me. If he wants a treat, I give him a treat. We ate at the same time, and so Ty said that can sometimes make a dog, not all dogs, just some, think that they are equal or like the boss, and they think that, you know, they need to protect what is theirs. Nero's being rehabilitated to where he doesn't latch onto someone. I have talked to Ty like a lot about what the best thing for Nero is, and I had a couple options. So if Nero comes back to me after rehabilitation, he can't be treated like a normal dog, and if he has a moment of weakness where, you know, in the back of his head he's always thought to protect me, if he does have a moment of weakness or he like relapses or whatnot, he does bite someone else or hurt someone, he'll be put down. And that's where it's hard, because I could do that. What if I keep him and I just keep him away from people? All people except me. I won't travel as much, probably almost never travel. I'll just stay home, I'll keep my dog. Probably won't introduce him to anyone, because if he does bite someone, then he'll be taken away and put down. But that's not fair to Nero. Like, it's not fair to him. He doesn't deserve to be locked up in a house all day. as much as I love him, I know that he deserves more than that. He does, if he completes the rehabilitation, we put him in a new home, in a new setting, with people that he's never like latched on or resource guarded, then he has a better chance at life, less likely chance to bite someone or get protective over someone. So I weighed all my options. And obviously I was like, you know what, I travel too much. I'm gonna stop traveling as much. That's the end of it. But the thing is, guys, like, even if I don't travel another day in my life, I don't want to keep Nero locked away from every single person just because I am there, because of me. I don't want him to go into relapse and accidentally bite someone because he's thought for the last 6 years that he should be protecting me and then be taken away from me and put down. The situation sucks. I always see the positive in things, and in this situation it's really hard. I know the positive is that Nero, I know it's like a second chance at life. Like, I know that I'm so lucky that he wasn't put down. I can't tell you how many times I've gone back and forth like, no, it's fine, I can make it work, I can make it work. And even Ty says, you're acting out on emotion. Like, you need to think of what is best for Nero. People have said a lot of cruel things because they didn't really know what was going on. They just thought that I gave Nero up to some shelter. Like, I paid for Nero to do this rehabilitation program. He wasn't dropped off at a shelter. It's like different people's houses, different trainers. Like, he's probably sleeping on a couch right now watching TV with like 2 other pit bulls. Like, I want Nero to have the best life possible, and that is my top priority, as well as Ty's and the reverse rescue community. Some of you might think that I'm a bad pet owner, or I'm a monster, or that I didn't do my job as a pet owner of keeping my dog. But just know that it was a really hard decision that I had to make, and this whole situation, this whole thing is the hardest thing that I've ever gone through, and doing it publicly on YouTube didn't make it that much easier. Like, to be honest, I don't know what I would have done if he would have been put down after that last incident. Like, I don't know what I would have done. So I'm just grateful that I got him back from that, and that he is alive and he is going to have an amazing life. A second chance.
What's going on? Ty here from Reverse Rescue. We are a pit bull breed-based rescue out of Los Angeles, California. We work with a lot of dogs on rehabilitation, backyard breeding, fight and bait. We work with shelter dogs. We do all sorts of stuff. But we recently got a dog in, Nero, from Heidi. Now, when Nero came to us, he had previously bitten 2 people. The first bite wasn't severe and it was within the family, so it didn't cause any problems with animal control. But Nero ended up lashing out and biting a friend of hers, and it was a pretty severe bite. Now, a lot of times pit bulls will just be euthanized without the ability to put them into rehab, but luckily Nero was given the opportunity to go into rehabilitation. So he's joined us. He's been with us a little while now. When he came into us, he had very, very heavy resource guarding. Now, one of the things with a power breed is they're working dogs, so the stimulation needs to be there. They constantly want to work for you. Now, Heidi had expressed that she, you know, had spoiled him, wanted to treat him good, like to have the life of a dog and, you know, have a good life. But within that, sometimes it breaks down the barrier between master and the dog. Nero jumped those lines and ended up, you know, biting someone. So when he was brought in, his resource guarding with food was about the worst. There's different things that could trigger him to set him into that. So he came in, he's been with us working through his heavy resource guarding, his prey drive, just things that happens with dogs over time when they lose that stimulation or don't have the proper training to keep them in line if they happen to have those traits that come out. So he's been doing good. I've had a few different episodes that have happened. When he first came to me personally, he was very offset by it. You know, it's a confusing thing to come into a new environment, but he started out in home training with myself, got around some of the pack. We worked on general obedience, getting things on command, him knowing to go to his kennel on command, stuff like that. But then it came to a point with other dogs. If it's a smaller dog, he has a high prey drive. So we cat tested him and he failed pretty bad. But it's one of those things that as we see the issues that he needs to work through, we know if we can adjust and correct those, or if they're going to be something that needs to be managed over a long period of time. With Nero, he really wants to bond to a human being. A lot of dogs do. Some dogs do their own thing, but then other ones really want to bond to a human. And when a dog does that, they need very constant, strict reprimanding for things that they do bad or things that are off on their training. Now, Heidi came to us because it was just getting out of control with him. He, you know, after the bite incident, he'd also had problems being around other large breed dogs, which he's shown in his training now. So currently, he has worked through great things with general obedience and getting on commands and learning the respect of following commands. But with working with big dogs, he's had a few incidents, you know, that caused some situations. But you know, it's why we're doing what we do, is to bring out the best in him and see what it is. Now with Nero, he does have a hairline trigger for things that set him off. It's going to take constant training and keeping up on everything. We've expressed these things that have happened with him and tried to figure out the best solution. With Heidi, when he is with her, he drops his guard to following the rules. She, you know, loved on him and spoiled him and really took care of him in that aspect, that now he set himself up that when he's given that opportunity, he strays away from it and he will just relapse into all of his bad habits. He started to build that with me as well, you know, because he really wants to have a master to tell him what to do and to be connected to, but then doesn't want to follow the rules that come with it. So he's currently now with one of my main trainers, Drew, and his pack. He'll be working through more strict commanding, getting things set to where we can start to move him towards being fixed on his prey drive. There's no real way to say that it 100% can be fixed, because every dog is different. If you keep constant training on him and you know how to handle him, then you can live a good life with him without many incidents. But as it goes through, the time has to be able to be put there to put that training in. So end result, Nero is a great dog. We want to bring out the best in every single dog that we work with and that we put into rehabilitation. You can't set many promises to how he's going to evolve as things go on. He will be a better dog and he will be on point commands. He will follow the rules, but with his triggers that he sets off, there's going to need to be specific handling that happens. Those are the things that we're going to keep evaluating, keep moving through. Every week, you know, we're going through the things that we've worked on with him and reevaluating how to take another approach if he doesn't excel in that. If he does and he moves through those things, then we move to the next once we feel that he's actually in that mindset. Now, presently, with Nero having his issues, he is not up for adoption with us, but after we get him to a point where we know if he's going to need a specific handler or if it's a situation that can be managed, you know, with a different family or anything, then we'll visit those options once we get there. But it's all about the dog, and it's all about getting him to a safe point with himself so that he can live as a dog, but not have to have the fear of, you know, if he bites someone else or has an incident that happens, that could lead him to being euthanized. And the end result of why we even do what we do is to not let dogs get euthanized. So now this is our official release to say that Nero is with our company, and that we will be working with him and pushing things forward, and getting him to a good place. So we'll have a lot more updates. We have a lot of videos and a lot of stuff that will show his journey. We're going to start documenting it. I know that my trainer Drew will also be doing it. Another trainer with Reverse Rescue, Sarah, has been working with him. We switched things up to keep it a new step for him. So if it's a female that he wants to attach to next, Sarah will work with him. Then he may come back to me. Then maybe Drew will step in. We round it about to do it the best way for the dog. So yeah, we'll have a lot more updates soon, and love your dogs.